at the minute I've got kind of an end in sight for COVID-19 and some actual good news, and I'm going to tell you about some vaccines and kind of how things are going to look by about 2021 when things start to reopen.
Great.
So supposedly vaccines are set to roll out in the US, UK, Germany, and Spain will start in 2021, and those first few countries are set to start in December, and that will be for kind of your weak and vulnerable people to the virus. But there's kind of been a little bit of debate because particularly in the UK, the head of the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine has said vulnerable people will get it first, whereas kind of an NHS draft plan has suggested that perhaps people over the age of 50 and healthcare workers will get it first. So it's not entirely clear yet, at least in the UK, what's going to happen.
But I mean, that would be sensible, wouldn't it? Because it affects older people, right?
That latter one certainly seems like the best choice there. And there is, of course, some controversy that we're kind of revealing. We've got a tip-off of a text message that was received. Was it by one of our viewers?
Yeah, one of our supporters sent us to, I think it was the Facebook page a little while back. But there's been no news on the vaccine till recently, so we thought we'd bring it back up.
So they received a text message essentially from their local GP surgery suggesting that they had to reveal their ethnicity as part of the process for getting a vaccine, which might indicate some kind of racially profiled vaccine.
Yeah, so I clicked on that link when they sent me it, and it took me to a website, and I went to the ethnicity data, and you can see you can pick white, mixed, Asian, black, or other. Traditionally, I'm sure loads of people have filled out these kind of forms.
Yeah.
There is a prefer not to say category, so I expected there to be one. So when I clicked other, all you can do is Arab or any other ethnicity group.
Why Arab in other?
I think because it's
weird.
a small percent in the UK.
Right,
They're just not as large. So
but
that very weirds me out, because if you can't prefer not to say, you have to give them one, in which case they will use it.
But this sort of ties in with Sadiq Khan the other day saying that minorities are most affected by COVID, therefore they should get the vaccine first.
Yeah, so he
just said it.
We've known for a while that that's been going on.
This is how they're going to collect the data to be able to do it.
I mean, they literally say that to prioritise healthcare. I mean, just to remind people, this is free healthcare. This is what the guys in the left in the United States want. Well, there are some downsides, that the state now determines whether or not you get your vaccine on the basis of your pigment.
Great. This is the future we all wanted. Thanks, Boris. You could have done something about this. Sorry, carry on.
That's all right.
Very angry.
So
I just hate this state-funded racism. It annoys me. Sorry, go on.
So I thought I'd give some information about the vaccines because it's very complicated and they're very different and they do different things. And to someone who's not perhaps a scientist, it seems a little bit daunting to look at the information as it's presented at the minute.
Or someone like me who's actively anti-scientist.
Anti-scientist.
Yes, I'm here.
Just like a beaker glass takes smashed.
Meme that, guys. I need that.
I'm going to write that down.
So good.
So supposedly the most ordered one so far is the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine, which is about 70.4% effective at preventing people from becoming ill. But if they receive a dose, like a smaller dose to begin with, and then a larger dose kind of a month later, it's said to be about 90% effective, which is about akin to some of the other ones. There's also the Pfizer vaccine and the Moderna vaccine, which are the two kind of runners-up as the most pre-ordered, which kind of follow a different technological approach where they inject you with a protein which essentially creates a DNA. I don't know. It's quite complicated, but it essentially manipulates DNA to cause your immune system to fight it rather than the conventional method of injecting a dormant version of a virus to inoculate you to it. So
I actually did A-level biology and I know how this works. This is the one thing I remember. I failed A-level biology. I hated it. But the one
me
thing
too. I actually got an E.
Yeah, I got an E too. But the one thing I found really interesting was protein shells on like bacteria and viruses and stuff. And your immune system learns the shape of the protein shell, and that's why they inject with the dead virus, so it can learn what this thing looks like and recognize it when it sees you. This is why you get viruses that are immune to vaccines, where they've got a different shaped protein shell. Please correct me in the comments if I'm wrong here, because it's been like 25 years. So, but yeah, sorry, go on.
And this different approach makes them about 95% effective, and these the vaccines are kind of pretty predominantly ordered in North America, but I will go to the breakdown of who's getting what at the end. So a lot of the testing, though, there's kind of been some deviation in practices, and the Oxford one, they actually bothered to swab the patients to test for COVID, whereas the American tests, they simply just asked people whether they had any symptoms or not, which was, you can kind of...
Got a cough, got a runny nose, you must have COVID.
And obviously 50% of people don't even have symptoms, so I'm not sure how rigorous that testing is, but thankfully the Oxford one is tested on actual people.
People who actually had COVID.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
So there is also a huge difference in the cost and the ease of kind of transporting and the logistics of it. The Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine only costs £3 per vaccine to produce, whereas the Pfizer and Moderna ones cost £20, I think. And the Pfizer and Moderna ones also require specialist fridges to transport them. So there's going to be a huge logistical operation in the countries that have ordered these vaccines to have to transport them, whereas the Oxford...
So we're going to get the 90% effective ones because it's cheaper.
Yeah, I think so.
But that's the Pfizer one. I remember reading about this. Apparently, it has to be kept at like minus 70 or something ridiculous.
Yeah, it's a really low temperature.
In my university, we only had one of those, and it was used, very reservedly.
That's going to elevate the cost exponentially, I think. Whereas the Oxford AstraZeneca one, which is only £3 already, only needs to be kept in a fridge, like you would have in your house. So it's not going to be very difficult to distribute that one at all, which probably explains why that one is by far the most popular, despite being perhaps less effective than the other two, which take a different method. And would you be able to bring up the second picture? There we go. So you get to see who has ordered what. So in the UK, we've put all our eggs into one basket.
That is a terrible map. What happened in Pakistan there?
Well, it's just... Pakistan has taken over
Imperial
all of
Pakistan.
all of Asia.
They've colonised all. They've got Canada. They've taken over most of Europe.
Africa, Australia. Wow. Okay.
I think it's just the countries that have the data on the pre-orders.
This is a prediction of 2025,
But yeah.
So I disavow everything Callum ever said about Pakistan.
Don't worry, they've only taken over Ireland, I think. But the data about the vaccines, I'm sure that's fine. It's just...
Sorry, go on. What was it? What were we talking about?
So in the UK, I think we've pre-ordered 100 million of the AstraZeneca ones, because obviously we need to have a follow-up dose, so that means 2 for every person. And in the US,
that explains why they ordered like 100 million doses, right?
Yeah.
Right, because I looked at that and I was like, Christ, that seems like a giant waste of money, but okay, that makes sense now. So it's 50 million people they can vaccinate, right?
And in the US, they've obviously got the AstraZeneca vaccine as well, but they've also gone with the other two, the Pfizer and the Moderna, as well as their own, which is the Johnson & Johnson one, which I don't think is very widely... discussed. You're right there, Callum.
Just like it brings a new turn to the global caliphate, doesn't it? Sorry.
We've got no evidence that Pakistan is plotting a global caliphate.
Well, it's the Financial Times who are accusing this. I'm not saying anything.
But
all right, I'll be good.
Essentially, you can see that the AstraZeneca vaccine is pretty widely ordered. I know they're even getting it in China, which means that I think they've got 2 million off the top of my head. I could well be wrong there, but I think that's going to be for the party officials rather than...
Yeah. Do you have the other graph?
No, I took it out because it was a little bit out of date. It didn't have the...
So the Chinese, they're only ordering the Oxford one, which... If you had to pick one, this is always your argument about 5G, people saying, it's dangerous. Well, if it's in the rich areas of Beverly Hills, it's probably fine.
Yeah.
So if the Chinese officials are taking this in Beijing, and not to mention, because of embargoes, almost certainly the guys in North Korea are getting this from China. So the Chinese are only ordering the Oxford one. Oxford one's probably fine.
Yeah.
That's more or less it. It's looking like, at least in the UK, we're going to go back to normal by at least April. So,
Oh, thank God.
I
Thank God
think,
that St. Boris will allow us out of our homes again to live our lives. Oh, Jesus.
and I think the United States is projected around the same sort of time,
Yeah.
and other kind of comparable continental
Yeah,
European countries.
We're all going
as
to make
well.
it, boys.
Yeah, I shouldn't minimise. This is actually good news. So. I shouldn't minimize. I'm just.
There you go.
It just annoys me that I guess there's a libertarian streak in me that's just like, no, don't overthrow the government.
But people have been asking for a white pill. Well, there's your Lotus
Yes,
pill.
yes.
We're all going to make it. Everything's
Yes.
fine.
Sometime next year, we might be allowed to see our friends and family again.